Hello everyone, and welcome to another behind the scenes breakdown. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a music video that I shot for a music collective called Colorvault. But before we dive into that footage, I'm going to give you some backstory about how this whole project came to be. Back in January of this year, I had a friend reach out to me and basically say, hey, I got a plane ticket to New York with your name on it. We're going to go up there and make some spec work. And one of those days that we're going to be up there, I'm going to give to you to make whatever you want. So I was sitting there thinking about what I wanted to do, and it came to me, oh, hey, one of my favorite bands is up in New York. Let me reach out to them and see if they'd be down to make anything. So I sent them a message. They got back to me. Like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. So we had a Zoom call where we kind of talked through what they wanted out of this project, did some scheduling and a little bit of pre-production. And the next month I flew up there and we made this.
Again, I find the end of what this heart can take. Again, I cry for strength to die another day.
One of the things we discussed early on was the location of the music video. We tossed around a couple different ideas, but we ended up landing on Washington Square Park. And part of that was because we knew the music video was going to be live, and the whole thing was going to take place in a oneer, meaning that the whole music video would be one shot. So we wanted something with a beautiful background, a beautiful setting, and Washington Square Park has the arch. There's a bunch of trees and pretty buildings that surround the park, and there's people walking and talking, and we wanted to capture all of that both visually and in the audio, so that way it would have a very raw feel. The time of day we ended up settling on was around 4:30 or 5 o'clock. We knew we didn't want the sun to be high in the air because you would get the raccoon eyes and the shadow from your head on your chest. So we waited until the sun went down behind some buildings, but we also didn't want it to be a sunset shoot. So it was this in between of not quite golden hour, but not sunny. In terms of gear, we had two Komodos with us. My Komodo was shooting the oneer and some of the intro sequence, and then the other Komodo was getting some more shots for the intro sequence and some of the behind the scenes stuff you see here. The oneer was shot on the 28mm Minolta. I believe I was at an f4 or 5.6, just to make sure that we got a lot of background in focus. We didn't want the whole thing to be completely shallow depth of field, bokeh out, but that also helped me a lot when pulling focus on the oneer. And then some of these shots in the intro sequence were on this Minolta 35-70 zoom lens. It's one of the ones that pushes out like that. Kind of weird. The whole thing was shot handheld, and I just had to make sure I walked as steadily as I could. It was kind of hard, actually, because I had boots on. I didn't really think that through. Those were the only shoes I brought with me on the trip. And boots are not very conducive for handheld shooting, at least if you're trying to get some moving following shots. It's hard to roll your feet in the way that you need to absorb some of the impact of your feet on the ground that adds a little bit of shake to your camera. That was a little difficult. There was no stabilization added in post at all. I had the camera tucked in close to my body, so I had 3 points of contact, really, my hand underneath on the lens, my other hand on the top handle, and then against my chest. For audio, I was using the lav mic I have on right now, the Tentacle Track-E pack, and that was used for Alex's vocals. And then we had a Tascam, don't remember the name of it, DR-10L, DR something like that. And we used double-sided tape to stick it onto the guitar. With this project being a oneer, I wanted to make sure we had a way to hook the audience early on and also be able to show some more of the location. So that's why I added an intro sequence to the beginning. It's fast-paced, kind of snappy. You see people walking on the street, you see the archway, you see some trees. I feel like it just adds a lot to the video overall. And then moving on to the oneer, we shot that in only 2 takes. The first time, Alex was actually walking around the other direction, and he didn't make it as far around the circle. So that was really the only 2 notes we had after that first take. It was like, okay, we got to walk a little bit faster so we can see more background. And then we decided to go the other way around so we could start off in that location where you see all that depth behind them. You see the buildings and the skyline and the skyscraper. And he works his way around to the arch. So that's kind of a reveal. And then, man, we got really lucky with the birds that fly right behind his head. I mean, you can't plan that unless you were to put it in post. It was just great timing. It hit at a perfect moment in the song, and I don't know, it was pretty sweet. For the color grade, all I did was use the Challenger Media House Eternal LUT. I did some balancing, added some halation, and threw some film grain on top. That's it for this behind the scenes breakdown. I hope you learned something valuable from it that you can take away to your next project, and I hope to see you in the next one. So.